Shalom WJC family. It's time for our weekly Torah talk. It's actually been about a month with all the holidays since we've had one of these videos. We had our last one for Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of Tishrei, and now this Shabbat we'll read the Torah portion, Parshat Noach, but it's also Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan, Rosh Chodesh for the next month after Tishrei, the second month of the calendar of the kings, the 8th month from Passover, how the Torah counts. And I know Noah's a great story and all, but I actually wanted to talk about this month, which is called Marcheshvan, or sometimes Cheshvan, or sometimes Mar space Cheshvan. The month and its name, which sometimes seems to have this mar added onto it and sometimes not, has created a lot of explanations for why the ambiguity. And some people will say that mar meaning bitter, like if you think of the maror on the Passover table, the bitter herbs, that Marcheshvan is called Marcheshvan because it's a bitter month. And then we have to decide why it's bitter. And so there's all kinds of explanations. Usually people will say because there's no holidays after all the holidays of Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. You know, that's not enough. We're sad because there's no holidays in Cheshvan. I don't know. Some people say because it's turning cold. Some people say that it's the month in which Sarah Imenu, Sarah, the first Jewish woman, died. Lots of explanations. The truth is that it's probably called Marcheshvan because it comes from an Akkadian month that sounded something like Marcheshvan. To be honest, I've seen it written out. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that was the original, and that's how it appears in most of the older sources. And it's not until some later sources that it appears as only Cheshvan, and then often nowadays, if you hear it called, it's called Cheshvan. I don't know why. Maybe because it's simpler, maybe because people don't feel so much bitterness this time of year. I don't know. But what is interesting is that in these explanations that are made up about why it's called Marcheshvan, one of them is not so bitter, not so negative. One rabbi in the Pri Chadash on Even HaEzer 126.7 gives the explanation that it's actually two words, Mar space Cheshvan, and Mar doesn't mean bitter, but it comes from the word tipa, or a drop, and that it's actually called Marcheshvan because it's in this month that the rainy season starts in Israel, that we start praying for rain in Israel. And of course, the rainy season in Israel is a very happy thing, and we love that it's rainy. And what I wanted to highlight is how the same thing can be interpreted in a negative way and a positive way, that there's the mar and the matok, the bitter definition, and the sweet, or the wet at least, definition of Marcheshvan. And that's true of so many aspects of Judaism. Even the story of Noah that we'll read in Shul, on the one hand, is a tragic tale of the destruction of humanity and the ruination of one tzadik's life, right? You have the most righteous man is Noah, and by the end of the story, he's a mess. He's drunk. He's, disrespected by his children. And on the other hand, it's this story that we tell about peace and rainbows and, how God's never going to destroy the world again, and the animals are coming 2 by 2, and it becomes the favorite story for children. How can it be both those things? But maybe that's the lesson in Marcheshvan or Cheshvan, and that's the lesson in Noach, and in so many aspects of Judaism, right? Even these holidays that just passed. We were challenged, as we so often are, but especially maybe in these times, to hold the bitter and the sweet together. Part of the brilliance of Judaism is that it doesn't shy away from complications, and it doesn't shy away from the idea that life often calls upon us to hold two emotions at once. Even the month of Cheshvan seems to be representative of this basic idea that we're never all happy and we're never all sad. We certainly lean one way or the other a lot of the time, but in order to live the most meaningful life and the most purposeful life, what we probably need to do is learn to find the joy even when we're experiencing the bitter, and learn to recognize the bitter even when we're experiencing joy. And only in that way can we lead a full life, can we lead a whole life. It's why so many of our rituals and ceremonies incorporate these ideas, like breaking a glass at a wedding, like singing sad songs as Shabbat is going out on Shabbat afternoon, or at least not sad songs, but sad tunes, kind of doleful, mournful tunes that go with the songs, and so many more. And that's what life calls on us to do. Sometimes we need to celebrate life even when we're sad at its loss. Sometimes we need to, even when we're sad, find the way to see the things that are beautiful to appreciate. I mean, we all have that gift and celebrate Cheshvan or Marcheshvan this way, to recognize that all of life is that mixture, and maybe it's the mixture that's the most beautiful thing at all. Shabbat Shalom and Chodesh Tov. Happy New Month.